What do you get when you take people dedicated to their craft, going through leaps and bounds, acting on their plan of action even in the midst of adversity? You get a heartfelt story so organic and becoming so genuine, which forces you to be a part of their moment, joining these experiences as if you were a part of them. These are stories of people, just like you and I, reflecting from within on how they've used adversity to catapult their lifestyle, their vision, and their goals to becoming successful. Here at the Stories to Savor Network, we welcome you to this wonderful, heartfelt show entitled Reflections from Inside. So the next time you go through trials and tribulations, or having self-doubt, consider to let the stories resonate with you in hopes to inspire you to believe that you can do whatever you set your mind to do.
Welcome back. Before the break, we talked a little bit about the language that we use and framing our language. What's your advice on how we should be speaking to ourselves and how we should be speaking to others, really?
Yeah, so the way that you speak to yourself inside your head is the quality of life that you're going to experience. And the questions you ask yourself are going to show up in the world outside of you. So before I wrote the book, one of the questions that was subconsciously running around in my internal programming and my internal language was, who do I need to be loved? What do I need to be more of in order to get to be lovable? Which again, it's this pattern, if you're seeing it here, is it was always set up that I would experience love or acceptance or happiness when I was more of something. I was not enough. That was the language accidentally that I was using that was setting me up to fail. It was setting me up to not be able to love myself or genuinely connect with others and live life. The questions now that I ask myself, the language I use now consciously is, what would allow me to love being me even more in this moment? Or today, or next week. Consciously setting the game of life up for me to get to live.
And not needing external validation of that. Just really owning your own self-worth.
Linguistically framing things in a way that allows me to love being me every day, all day. And constantly figuring out ways of defining life that lights me up. So as an example, I went from working 18-hour work days, skipping lunch, sacrifice, all that, to what else might you want to experience in life? Or some of the questions I asked myself, right? So I decided to leave the corporate world and start my own business. And I started to see visions of tapping into my heart space and using language that allowed me to create living paradigms instead of waiting to live paradigms. And I was like, oh, I would love to go walk with lions in South Africa. The brain wants to know why, but the heart's like, I don't need to explain to
I don't
you
need
why.
to justify this to you.
Just because I want to. Because it would feel fun. It would feel good to be me. So I went on a walk with lions in South Africa. I saw visions of bungee jumping. I saw visions of getting to go to meet koalas and wallabies and kangaroos in Australia. And so when I asked myself what would allow me to love being me in that language consciously, how much time do I spend loving being me? I'm starting to build a portfolio of living. Instead of just surviving another day.
So you're really walking the talk, so to speak. I think what you said that was really interesting is, you know, what you tell yourself is the life you give yourself, so to speak. So if we're filling it with all this negative language or self-doubt or needing to validate externally, then we're living for someone else and we're not living for ourselves.
Yeah, and the language inside your head, if you are looking backwards and saying, I should have done that different. I could have done that different. Why didn't I do that different? You're living in the past. And the only place that happiness and fulfillment can truly exist is in the moment, is in the now.
Yeah.
And or you can consciously construct even more as you go forward. But really at the end of the day, if you're spending time in the past or the future, you're not in the now, which is where the available wealth of resources of excite and delight and love and everything that you want exists. And so paying attention to the language and making sure that if you catch yourself in the past, say, hey, what did that teach me?
Okay.
I'm grateful for it. Thank you for the lesson. How can I use that now moving forward to create a life that I love that's genuinely living life on my own terms? And I'm constantly going on different adventures and experiencing all of the different things that I love that may not look like what you would love or what someone else would love.
It's your own personal definition of it.
Life on my own terms. And so that's what I would love people to take away is consciously exploring what does life look like on your terms.
So it's really what you're feeding your heart and your soul. And you talk a little bit in your book also about using the appropriate language so that you're living your life for yourself, and then also taking in external content, right, in a way that allows you to be able to flourish and thrive and live the life that you really see. When we return, we're going to speak with Morgan a little bit more about the type of content that we absorb, what we watch, what we read, what we take in, and what we put in our bodies, and how that can really make a difference in how we're living our lives for ourselves when we return.